Rocky, how you going, man? Just waiting for Tim. Just waiting for Tim. He shouldn't be too long. Dom is in the house. Dom is in the house. Right, Tim just sent me a message. Ready when you are, mate. Let's go. Who's been watching King of the Hill? Ooh, hang on. IT issues. Right, just a minute, guys. Tim should be here any moment. But if you haven't already, if you go to backyardultrarunclub.weebly.com under the under the more it says Big's Backyard World Individual Championships 2025, all the stats are there. So
Hey, Patto.
Tim, how you going, man?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Nice.
And we're live too.
Oh, we're live. Nice. Hi, thousands of frothing viewers.
Yeah, well, Waz's here, Rocky, Dom, the trail snails. Really, it's going off.
Yeah, cool, cool.
But yeah, like I've got my stats ready to go. I'm
Good.
frothing actually a bit for this.
You're always frothing, Patto. Did
Yeah.
you tell people where to get the stats and they can follow along or
Yeah, and I've pinned the website to the chat as well, so um, they'll be able to find it quite easily.
Clayton's put a link on the Backyard Ultra Run Club Instagram bio. So if you go in the bio there, give them a follow and then jump on the link. It'll take you there as well.
Yeah,
For this
yeah,
later. Do you want me to bring it up?
yeah, go for it. While we're before we get into it though, what was it like at Biggs? Awesome.
Yeah, it's epic. It was
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we stopped at the Yellow Gate. Jashi, Caroline, and myself stopped at the Yellow Gate on the way. So having a run
What?
there was
On the
pretty
morning
awesome.
of?
Nah, not the morning of.
Oh,
That'd
okay.
be epic. Nah, on the way over to Bell Buckle. So that was surreal, just being there and then going to Laz's house, and I was helping him get logs for the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to touch them. I got to carry one, but he's very particular with it. So
Right.
I shone a
Did,
light on him.
did now on the live stream 2 years ago, like it was like a Laz was screaming non-stop, like especially when the race started. But I didn't hear as much this year. Like, did he scream at you, for example, or anyone else?
Now, I was hoping.
Yeah.
There was, there was a bit of noise about car parking. There
Right.
was some choice words for people who were parked on the road and hadn't moved their cars.
Hmm.
But outside of that, he's a lovely guy. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know why people say he was yelling and stuff last time. Maybe he was just in a better mood this
Yeah. I think people just don't like being screamed at. I think he's the kind of guy
time.
like he's a bit like me. Like when I scream at people, like I don't do it because I hate them. I just do it because like I accidentally raise my voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's also the kind of guy that doesn't need a microphone. So he's got to
Right.
raise his voice if he's talking to a group of 100 and something people and trying to get a really important rule across. Yeah, I suppose he's got to yell.
Yeah. Um, let's have a look here. So I've got the website with all the stats here. I mean, there's some epic stuff here. You've done a lot of work.
Um, I've never presented to Zoom before. You know how?
Got no idea.
You can. This would be funny. Well,
While you're doing that, Dylan Brown wants to know who won the challenge. I think that's the fantasy team thing. We'll
oh, you'll
definitely.
have to wait to find out. We'll talk to that. But there was lot of there was a lot of talk about it around the campfire.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, Ned Phillips came around the campfire and everyone was congratulating him and um, saying well done and stuff. And yeah, it's because they had him in their fantasy team. So a lot of the other runners had him in the team, and
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. A lot of people were talking about it.
yeah, because he
I
did well.
know.
He did well.
I think I've sent you a request to
Oh,
share.
yeah, here we go. Cool.
Yeah, I know. Phil was trying to actively encourage his runners to keep going so he could win that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Look at this. What I'm sharing is instructions. And, instructions on how to present on Zoom. Look at that.
Here we go. Oh, that's awesome. I'll let
What I
you
find
drive,
you.
man. I'll let you drive.
Cool.
Everyone can
So,
see that. Let's just make sure everyone can see that. I think there's probably about a 20-second delay.
on the live stream.
Yeah.
Cool. We got any thumbs up in the chat?
The roach has been frothing for this.
You reckon we're good?
I'll actually just have a look myself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep, they can see. Dan
Cool.
Carmack. Dan Carmack. Oh, that's perfect. Yep, I can see.
All right.
Yeah,
So
cool.
I'll put together a bit of a presentation to go through the stats because I know last few times we've done it, um, I've tried to describe a few of the charts,
Yeah,
which can be sort of fun, but you're missing something. So hopefully we can do this so it's good as an audio podcast as well as give a little bit extra for those watching it live. And if you
yep,
are listening to it as an audio podcast, like we said, you can jump on the Backyard Ultra Run Club Instagram. There's a link there to look at this exact deck we're going through. and also an interactive report where you can dig into the data yourself. You can
Yeah.
filter down to whatever you want to look at.
That's awesome. Is this on your website too?
Nah, I don't really use it anymore. So I thought it's better to put it on the Backyard Ultra Run Club because that seems to be one home for a whole heap of cool facts and stuff. Where
Yeah,
last time I put stuff on was, I think, Sap Champs. So it's been a year since I used
yeah.
my
And you're
website.
not the stats man anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm the Herdies winner
Yeah.
now. I thought it'd be cooler to not be the stats guy anymore. Apparently not.
Yeah.
So general field statistics. So here's some data on the field. There were 72 runners. We know there were meant to be 75, but three couldn't make it,
Mm.
which was a bit sad. Countries represented, there were 38 countries. Average age was 41.7, which was up a little bit from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Also up a little bit from 2 years ago was the oldest runner, still Jennifer Russo. She was the oldest in 2023, and now at 59 is still the oldest there. And the youngest was Carl Kevin Rule at 24. So I think last bigs we had an 18-year-old in the field. This the Polish kid Patrick.
Yeah.
Um, but now, yeah, Carl at 24 was the youngest. And there's a few countries with multiple runners. Obviously, a heap of countries just send their national champion, but there's a few countries with a lot of runners. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail, but USA had 9, Japan had 7, Poland had 6, Australia and Belgium had 5.
Yeah. Are you able to remind me which nationality Carl Kevin Rule is from?
Uh, no, not
Okay,
now.
that's all right. That's all
I'm
right.
sure I can. At some
Yeah.
point, we'll look at it.
Yeah.
We'll look at it in a minute. Um, broken records. So Biggs is a place where records are broken,
Yeah.
um, and it didn't shy away from that. We had 34 of the runners hit their personal best. Because there's a lot of national champions there, with that comes national records. So we smashed 22 national records. There's a new female world record, Sarah Perry hitting 95. Obviously, that previous record was Meg Eckert with 87. Then there's national records. Here's just the top handful. USA now, Harvey Lewis and John Knoll share that, which is kind of cool with 111. They didn't finish together though. They just happened to finish with the same number of laps, and they both pushed as hard as they could and got as many as they could. They didn't cross the line holding hands or anything, but it
Yeah.
just happened they both hit 111.
Yeah. That was epic. That was
Yeah,
epic.
it was pretty huge.
Yeah.
Um, Japan 106, so some massive numbers out of Japan, and that's K2, we'll call him. Um, New French record, 105 from Nicolas Quantapa.
Yeah.
Um, Spain or Catalonia, more specifically, Orioles up that record by 1, so 103. Hendrick hit the 100 for Germany, first German to hit 100, and wasn't that special to watch.
Oh, that was awesome.
Sarah Perry, not just the female world record, but the UK record as well. So
Yeah.
Sarah Perry is the female world record holder, the UK national record, um, and the national champion for the UK. So that's
Yeah.
pretty
Wow.
special.
Yeah. Two in
Uh,
one or three in one.
3-in-1,
Yeah.
triple threat.
Yeah.
And Rodolfo in Mexico, what an amazing result that was with 88. And Nicholas from Sweden, 87. So
Mm.
some pretty huge numbers there in these national records.
Yeah. So considering there were 38 different countries represented, that's a huge ratio of national records broken.
Yeah,
More than
yeah,
half. More than
yeah,
half.
yeah, yeah, massive. And when you think, some countries have multiple runners running, and they've
Yeah.
like France, and they've smashed their national record, and the other runners have smashed their personal best. And Biggs is definitely the place to go if you want to break some sort of record.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're going to say it later or not, but let's just say talk about how Oriole became the second person to break 100 twice in a calendar year.
Yeah, it's massive. Hey, and
Yeah.
it's hasn't been that long since Dead Cow, so that I mean, really, he's done it in 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Yeah, that's
huge.
that's a massive, massive thing to do. I don't think many people will do. I think that that will be a rare record, um,
Yeah,
or a rare thing to achieve, two 100s in one calendar year.
you'll to do it, you really have to be at the right events as well, because there's not that many events in a year where you'd get 100 plus,
Yeah.
and then you'd have to work out the timings of those. Yeah, he's obviously come to Australia for Dead Cow to get one of those hundreds, and then to the US to Bigs.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it's going to be hard for people to hit 200s in the same calendar year.
Yeah. And Phil's done it twice.
Yeah, Phil has done it twice.
Yeah.
Pretty epic.
Mm.
Um, so of the field, there were 12 runners in the 100 club. So we've got Phil Gore from Australia. Obviously, he was the world record holder going into the event, PB of 119, and he hit 103 times in his career before Bigs.
Yep.
Sam Harvey, 118. He'd hit 100 twice. Lukash Robel, 116, just the one over 100. Evo, 110, had going into Bigs, had hit the 100 3 times.
Yep.
And Moran, 110, same PB, but he'd hit that 100 4 times, the most of any human in the world.
Yeah.
Um, Harvey Lewis, 108, just once. Ivan Zaborski, 106, just once. So all the rest of these runners just hit 100 once in their career leading into Bigs. Bartosh with 103, Oriole with 102, Terumichi Mori Mori, 101, Jashi 100, and Kenneth from Belgium with 100. And yeah, as I said, Moran, the only runner ever to achieve 100 plus on 4 occasions prior to Bigs.
Yep.
But there's a few runners who had hit 100 who could have been running but weren't there. So there's 4 runners from the 100 club who weren't running at Bigs. Jan, I won't try the last name, from Belgium, 115. Frank the Tank Geelan, 110. He's obviously had an injury since then, so he's been working his way back. Eeyore wasn't there, so that was a shame not to get to meet him while I was there.
Mm.
But 107, and Peter from Russia, 105, wasn't there running either.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, 4 runners.
it was still a stacked field though, wasn't it? Like the amount of runners who had broken 100 and so many prospects and up and comers, and it was a
Yeah,
stacked field. There's
yeah.
always going
Look,
to be two or three runners who can't make it.
yeah. When you look at the field, it was huge, like
Yeah,
such talent there. But there's still so many other runners who weren't there as well. So it just shows the backyard ultra community is getting stronger and stronger, and the results are getting bigger and bigger.
yeah,
We're looking at their ages now. So the oldest runners, or the runners with the most birthdays, were Jen Russo, as we said before, 59. We had Ned Phillips, crowd favourite, with 58, and Minoru Tanaka with an age of 57. But most of the runners within that mid 30s to late 40s range. So clearly showing that a backyard isn't a young man's game.
Ooh.
We've seen some young people do some awesome numbers, but it's not like other sports where you have your 30th birthday and you
Oh,
can't compete anymore. We've got
oh,
some runners all the way up into their late 50s pulling out some huge results.
oh, yeah. I still feel like a youngster when it comes to backyard ultras.
Yeah,
I
not at
still,
parkrun though, right?
yeah, yeah. I feel like I've got 10 good years left. I'm excited. Like 10
Yeah,
good years left in me.
backyards. I feel young. I feel
Yeah,
fresh. I've got so much time ahead of me. But when I go to the park run, I line up at the front thinking I've got a chance to win. I've got a chance to win. And then the 14 and 15-year-old kids come and I'm like, oh no, they're
Yeah.
gonna beat me again. Nationalities. So we're looking at a graph here that shows the number of runners for each nationality. And what we see is there's a lot of countries represented that just had their one national champion, and a handful of handful of countries um, that sent multiple runners. So really, most countries just had the one
Yeah.
runner, and there's just a few who had multiple. We went
Yeah.
through the numbers before, but I think most interesting is Poland. So Poland is really becoming a powerhouse in backyards quickly, and they had six runners this year compared to the two they had in 2023.
Which country had the highest of the countries that only had three runners? Sorry, of the countries that only had one runner represented, who ran the most yards?
That would be Catalonia,
Oh, yeah.
which is Oriel.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
So 102.
Three.
Oh,
103.
yeah, 103 now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so there's some really, really stacked field. I think it's going to be an interesting Sat Champs next year. It feels like it's just around the corner, but it's a year away.
Mm.
But looking at countries like Poland who've come just so strong, and there's definitely going to be some countries who have improved
Mm.
massively in the last 12 months, and no doubt they'll improve in the next 12 months ahead of Sat Champs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, you'll see there are quite a few number one ones. Like Mexico did 88.
Yep.
France had three, but they absolutely killed it. Um, ESP and was there a
Yeah,
separate? Was ESP and CAT the same person?
no. So there's a Spanish. What I've done is I've counted Oriol as Catalonian because he counts himself as Catalonian.
Yeah,
So I
fair enough.
figured we might as well.
Yep,
That's what
yep,
he
yep,
that's what he reports as his nation. We'll put it in there as Catalonian.
yep. Cool.
Um, so qualification, the at-large minimum actually was 63, which felt like it started really high in the 80s somewhere. I
Yeah,
can't remember where it started, but yeah, it was up over 80, and
yeah,
then
cool.
came down fairly quick in the last few weeks before the event.
Yeah,
Um, but 63 is still huge compared to 2023 because I think 2023 was 51, right? Like
yeah. It sounds
Tim
about
Kay
right.
got in. I believe he had 51 then.
Yeah, I think he got in with 55. I'm pretty sure he did 55
Okay.
at Dead Cow Gully. And he did, but he did 50, he had done 51 at Hurdy's earlier that same year. So,
Mm.
what do you think the minimum will be for 2027?
It's hard. So I think we all asked this question, what would it be for 2025?
Mm,
And the number everyone came back with seemed to be in the 80s. Everyone thought, you'd have to run in the 80s. So I think it really depends on where Biggs is held. So if
yeah,
Biggs is held in Bell Buckle, Tennessee, in 2027, I think a lot of people will potentially not be overly excited to spend all the expense of flying to the US to go to the same race they've run before. So that number might drop down. Um, but if it's somewhere else and a little bit easier for people to get to, and visas aren't a challenge, and it's a bit cheaper for some people to fly there, etc., yeah, the number could be up around high 80s.
yeah. Well, I asked Phil and I also asked Dan on the podcast if it would make a difference to their decision if they wanted to go back. And I definitely got the impression that they would be more likely to go back if it was in a
Yeah.
different country.
Well, you build a holiday around it, and you don't tend to holiday in the same place every year.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I think if it's in Bell Buckle, we might see the number drop down to 70 or something.
Mm,
But if they hold it somewhere else, somewhere a bit exciting for people and somewhere people want to holiday and run, yeah, it could be high 80s, even into the 90s.
Yeah.
The average PB heading into the event was 71.8 yards. 71.8 was the average across the 72 runners, which is massive.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, Phil Gore had the highest 119 world record. That's the second time he's gone into bigs as the world record holder. And Brian Pasmore was the lowest PB national champion with 24.
Yep.
And then the three runners who couldn't start. So there's more than three runners who couldn't start, but these were the three runners who were committed to going. They were on the list, but for various reasons they couldn't get there, whether it was visas or something similar. So Marius from the Ivory Coast, Lang from South Africa, and Jamal from Pakistan.
Yeah, poor old Jamal. It's happened to him two bigs in a row now. Same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So keen to see Jamal get to run a bigs. We might have to wait a couple of years to watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, hopefully he
And the
makes.
event might have to be moved one day to before he can make it there. But yeah, it'll be a celebration when he's at that start line, I think.
Yeah. Now the lowest PB, Brian Pasmore, he was that's also why he was the cheapest fantasy league person
Yeah,
to choose.
yeah,
He
certainly
was,
was.
yeah.
He
We'll get
was
we'll get more into it later, but he was the most popular pick, wasn't he?
he was the most picked runner out of any
Yeah.
runner. Yeah. Um. So here's just a graph of their PBs, and it's quite a wide spread. You see from 24 all the way up to 119. But the bulk sitting in around 60 to
Mm.
maybe high 80s. That's where the most of the runners are. And
Yeah.
yeah, as I said, Phil also came into the 2023 individual champs as world record holder. Then the world record was 102, and obviously this year 119. So um, keen to see if he's the world record holder in 2027 and whether he makes his way back to Biggs for a
Yeah.
three-peat of being the world record holder for the event.
Well, I always think whenever there's a new world record or whatever the world record is for backyard ultras, I always think this one's going to stick around for a while. This one won't get beaten
Yeah,
for a while. But then it just gets, then a couple months later, it will get beaten. But I really do think 119, it will be a while till it's beat. It wouldn't surprise me next bigs if it's still the world records.
yeah. I reckon I'll be beaten. Yeah, I reckon
Yeah.
it'll be beaten. And I say that because I know Phil could beat it. So if Phil can
Yeah.
beat it, someone else can beat it. We just have to get them together at a race and give them the right conditions. And I think we'll get into the 120s, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, after the success of Dead Cow Gully, I wouldn't be like, I think there will be more races around the world who are trying to attract like hot fields from like
Yeah.
get runners from all around the place to try and break records and things like that.
Yeah. It's like a hub race where you've got
Mm.
legends, you've got Dead Cow. There's those handful of races where runners know they can go there and there'll be a quality field and they'll be able to hit big numbers.
Yeah.
So the performance of the field, even though there's three less runners than 2023, so there's only 72, and in 2023 we had the full 75. They ran more yards total, so it was 4,559 yards between the runners,
Wow.
um, which is 330 odd, 342 more than 2023. Total kilometers were 30,571 kilometers run. It's
Gee.
not including to and from the corral to the gazebo.
Yeah.
Um, and total miles, that's about 19,000 miles run between the 72.
Yeah. Wow.
On average, they ran 63.3 yards. Uh, I'm going to say that's a world record. No one can prove me wrong. Maybe they can. But
Yeah.
highly doubt there's any backyard that's been run in the world where the average of all the participants is higher than 63.3. That's just usually the
Yeah.
winner is under that.
If there is one, maybe Belgium from the Sat Champs,
Mm,
last Sat Champs,
maybe.
because all their runners did 50 or more, and three of their runners did 110.
Yeah, Woz can do the maths on that while we're
Yeah,
while we're chatting.
yeah.
But yeah, outside of Sat champs
Oh,
and individual champs, imagine going to a race where the average yard was 63.3.
yeah.
That's up on 2023. So in 2023, it was 56.2. So an increase there. Overall, the runners just did better. They came in with higher PBs and left better results. But what I did find is their results versus PB on average, the runners did 10.2 yards less than their personal best.
Right.
And in 2023, they also ran less than their personal best on average, 7 yards less.
Mm.
So there's a few runners in there that we'll get to. Lukash, Sam Harvey, who came in with big PBs and had to pull out early. But yeah, on average, the runners at bigs don't get their PB. So I suppose it just talks to the toughness of that trail course.
Yeah. Now I know in 23 it was very dusty, but
Yep.
I think the conditions were harder this year. Like with the hot first day, the rainy first night, running on the
Yeah.
road again, and then the next night was freezing cold. So, I mean, to me, it sounds like it was harder conditions anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Um the trail didn't seem dusty and the
Mm.
runners coming back in didn't seem to have as many falls as
Yeah,
2023.
yeah,
Watching the live stream in 2023, every single lap you'd see someone covered in dirt and blood and
yeah.
they clearly stacked it. We didn't really see that this year.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, just with the heat, the rain, the cold, the wind, they had everything thrown at them, as
Yeah.
well as you go in with a mindset and a plan. Um, and we didn't run the trail course on the second day, so the runners would have had to adapt and maybe change their plan or change their mindset.
Mm.
Um, uh, Instead of doing the trail, they did the road, and then that road stretched for 37 hours. Um, it's not the most scenic road in the world. It's quite dark. You're probably just looking at the spot of your headlamp.
Yeah.
Doing that for 37 hours, I think they're all frothing to get back on the trail after that.
Yeah. Did you did you give Jashi, like you were there crewing for Jashi? Did you like give, like, how did he approach running on that road for the second day?
Yeah, so um, the word was given that Laz needed someone to check the trail in daylight. So at least the first day loop was going to be run on the road course while they checked the trail.
Mm.
But we, in our gazebo, took the mindset of, hey, we're just continuing to run on the road until we're told otherwise.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what would happen after that one loop, whether it would continue or what would happen. I think Jashi was, fine, quite pleased with it. I don't think anyone really minded doing a few extra road loops.
Yeah.
Um, and it just extended out all the way through the day. At some point, we knew it was just going to stretch out through the whole day and then go into the night on the road course as well. But yeah, after 30 odd loops, some of those runners were really keen to get back onto that trail.
Mm.
Um, all that pounding on the bitumen and also just the, you know, lack of anything to look at, lack of interest must have drove them crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Now the biggest improver was Sarah Perry, my favourite runner. Um, she was in my fantasy team too.
Right.
36 yards. And the largest shortfall, so the runner who did the worst compared to their PB was Lukash,
Mm,
who it's a phenomenal number. Was 99 yards short of his personal best.
yeah. I feel so sorry for him. Like he was so fired up to run a big race and just didn't go to plan.
Yeah, it was a big loss early on, and I think a lot of the other runners, I know Phil in particular, was keen to run with Lukash. So when word got around that he'd pulled out, it was quite a shock.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, started sort of what came to be a lot of big name runners dropping out early. So we had two runners with PBs over 100 DNF within the first 24 hours. That's Lukash and Sam, and then Kenneth was out after 35. So within the first 36 hours, three runners with PBs of 100 or more had dropped out.
mm, yeah,
And then, there's Simon McLean with a PB of 90 who was out early as well.
yeah.
Just a lot of big names dropping out early. Um, Upsets versus their prior PB. So this is what I just touched on. The biggest upsets, Lukash, who was 99 yards short of his PB. Sam Harvey was 94 yards short of his PB. Ron Wyman, first to drop, was 68 yards short of his PB. He had a broken ankle or something. He had
I
some
know
pretty
he
bad
was.
injury going in.
Yeah, I think it was on his last long run before his taper. He twisted his ankle.
Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah, and then he was just resting and doing everything he could to get there fit. But yeah,
yeah.
obviously there wasn't enough time.
And Kenneth, um, as we said, was out early, 65 yards short. Um, Now in the audio, this won't be great, but there's a chart here. It just shows all the little dots is a runner um, from left to right. That shows their PB. So all the way over on the right are the runners with the highest PB. And then lower they are, the worse they did versus their PB.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And then there's some right at the tippy top. So I
yeah.
call them the heroes, the biggest heroes. These are runners who beat their PB by the most. My favourite runner, Sarah Perry, 36 yards ahead of her PB. Stefan Wilfinger from Austria, 33 yards ahead of his PB. He was a fantastic pick
Mm,
um, in the fantasy team. If you had him, you did pretty well. And
yeah.
then Jonathan Torino, who did 30 yards more than his PB.
Now, I reckon Stefan's a bit of a fan favorite now with his like how he jumps over the line and fist pumps the air every time he
Yeah,
completed a loop.
yeah, he's pretty cool with the haircut as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, results versus PB. We've got all the runners listed here. On the left, you got Sarah Perry, the biggest hero, and on the right, you got Lukash Robel, who missed his PB by the most. So if you're above the line, you beat your PB. If you're below the line, you didn't hit your PB. And you can definitely see there's a lot more runners who didn't hit their PB than there are runners who did hit their PB.
Mm.
Uh, Now times, yard times. Was it a fast year? Was it a slow year? Um, Average pace, sorry, the average time for a loop was 50 minutes and 20 seconds,
Yeah.
which is 8 seconds faster than 2023. But if we look at the trail average, it was 53.06. That's up 54 seconds, so slower by almost a minute versus 2023 on the trail. And on the road, 48.50, which was slower by 12 seconds, so just a little bit slower than 2023. The funny thing here is the trail loop average was slower than 2023. The road loop average was slower than 2023, but the overall average was faster. And
Mm.
how that works is because there were 13 additional road course loops due
Yeah.
to that rain.
Yeah.
So overall, they were running slower. But what happened is with those additional road loops, the runners got a chance to put in some faster laps, which brought that average down.
I got a sense that a lot of runners, especially runners who had been there before, and were there for the second time, they weren't as concerned about running fast loops on the trail. All they were concerned with was getting back and finishing the loop,
Yeah,
even if it was in 57 minutes, 58 minutes. As long as they were getting back and finishing the loop, they weren't going to stress too much or at all about the time.
yeah. It's interesting because we just said we didn't see as many trips and falls from
Mm,
the runners. I know there were some, but it didn't seem to be as many as 2023. There didn't seem to be as much leaf litter on the
mm,
trail course. So by all accounts, it was a more runnable trail than 2023. I know Laz puts a lot of work into it, so it's not surprising that it's a bit more runnable. But yeah, it must have been a mindset and experience thing,
yeah.
that runners were happy to run that trail course a little slower, almost a minute slower on average.
Yeah. And I also noticed on the live stream, a lot of runners were finishing the yard on the trail as a big group. Um,
Yeah,
and they were coming in with just like 2 minutes left a lot of the time. Like Harvey Lewis and a lot of people were running with him. And yeah, big groups coming in about 58 minutes.
yeah. It must happen somewhat naturally as well, being a lot of single track.
Yeah.
You tend to bunch up anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that experience, they're taking it a bit slower, getting through in a group, and knowing as long as they've got a couple minutes, they can get back out there. And
Yeah.
once they get onto the road, that's when they can bank a bit of time to get some meals and sleep.
Yeah.
Fastest runners. So the fastest average was Bartosz Fidali from Poland. 42.02 was his average yard. Now that's across road and trail.
Mm,
Veneri Teppo, 42.22. And Ivan Zaborski, 44.29. So
yeah.
Bartosz and Veneri were much faster on average than the rest of the field. You look at this, and the Ivan in third place is almost 2.5 minutes slower than Bartosz, who was the fastest.
Yeah, Ivan looked so good for the first couple of days, and then he was started running with like in real obvious pain, and he was running for such a
Yeah,
long time in that obvious pain. I wonder if his average time before he slowed down, I wonder if he was closer to the 42 mark as
yeah,
well.
certainly felt that way. He was running really, really well, and then you started to see him stoop over.
Mm,
And it's not the side lean that you see, like Evo had that side lean at the end,
yeah,
but it was stooped over forwards and having a lot of lower back pain. You'd see him cross the line with his hand on his back. So that no doubt blew his average time out.
yeah,
The fastest loop, 31:33. Sunil Sharma, Kenneth did from Belgium did a 32:12, and Rodolfo Ramirez, famous for coming in with what 30 seconds and having a shave.
yeah.
Um, but he's got speed. He did a 33:36.
I remember it must have been a different loop, but Sunil Sharma, it looked like him and Harvey Lewis were racing to finish one of the
Yeah.
loops on the. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. I
Yeah.
saw it on the live stream after. I didn't see it live while I was
Right.
there.
Yeah. It was probably in
Um,
the 30s or something like that. It wasn't early in the race. Like they'd done a fair bit of running.
yeah, Sunil looked like a fun guy to run with. I think he was
Yeah.
having a bit of fun out there. So
Yeah.
when we get to the trail, it's a similar picture, but we see Ivan Zaborski was the fastest on the trail, 44:30.
That is flying on the trail, isn't it?
Yeah,
44
that's
on the
pretty fast.
trail. That is flying.
Mally and I did one loop, and we did it in over 45 minutes. So yeah, it's
Did you
bloody
run
fast to do that and keep
did you
going.
run the road section first?
Nah. Oh
Okay.
yeah, we the Lure out and back. Yeah, we
Yeah.
did the Lure out and back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do the road course. But yeah, 44 on that trail course is is fast. He would have been pushing that whole way.
Mm.
Um, Lukash 46.12, so slower on that trail, but still fast.
Yeah.
And Tomasz Cyganski 47.04. So they're the fastest in averages on the trail. And then the fastest loops, Sunil Sharma, 35.45. Bartosz did a 39.15. And Ivan Zaborski 39.20. That 35.45 is that is rocket speed.
Yeah, he's a jack of all trades, isn't he? Fastest road loop and fastest trail loop.
Yeah. So maybe it was in his plan. Maybe he has a big meal or something. But yeah, there's some fast loops Sunil put in.
Yeah, or maybe it was just for fun. Just I want to run the fastest road loop and I want to run the fastest trail
Yeah,
loop.
maybe.
Yeah,
Well, all those fastest trail loops were on the first day of the event.
right.
So
Yeah,
within the first 11 hours, all those fastest loops were put in.
yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, it got progressively slower as the days went on. Fastest runners on the road. So Thomas Sagansky, 40.12 average on the road. Ivan Zaborski, 40.38 on the road. And Evin Svenigan, 42.20. The fastest individual loop on the road, Sunil Sharma. Kenneth with a 31.33. Kenneth Van Thune, 32.12. And Rodolfo Ramirez, 33.36. Same runners we went through as overall. The overall fastest yards were run on the road, so they're the same.
Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking, am I? I thought for a second I was in the twilight zone. I thought, have we already gone through this?
yeah, so we went through the overall. This is on the road, and yeah, it's the same runners with those individual loops on the road.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Rodolfo had one of the slowest average yard times. However, he ran a really quick loop on the road. He ran that 33.36 on yard 41.
Wow.
We'll see that when we look at his graph. It's this little blip where
Right.
he's running consistently slow and then just throws in a 33.36 casually. Um, Running laps under 45 minutes tends to be what us backyarders call a fast lap. For some people, it's a 44. Some people, it's a 45. Some people, it's a 38. For those laps under 45 minutes, Nicolas Quintepas from France did 58 yards under 45 minutes. Veneri Teppo, 51. And Phil Gore, 47 of his yards were under 45 minutes.
Yeah, that Teppo dude, like it definitely appeared as though when he finished, he had more left in the tank.
Yeah.
He just hit a number that he was happy with, so he stopped. That's what it felt like. Did you do a comparison for this for 2 years ago? Because I wouldn't be surprised if Phil ran more than 47 2 years ago.
Yeah. Interesting question. I haven't
But
done the
I did.
comparison on this. I can, and we
No,
can
it's all
pull it
right.
up.
It's
But
probably not even a fair comparison because they did more road loops this time.
yeah, I was going to say they did so many more road loops, and Phil had a very similar plan to a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
So I
probably not
reckon
much.
without the road, he would have been on par.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously the more yards you run, the more yards you can do under 45 minutes. So I thought, I wonder who ran the most percentage of their yards under 45 minutes. And Bartosz did 75% of his yards under 45 minutes. So three
Mhm.
quarters of the time he was running under 45 minutes. Veneri Teppo just a little bit less, 73%, and Ivan Zaborski 58%. And to your point earlier, that 58% before he had that back pain was probably sitting up around that 75% of his yards.
Mhm. Ooh.
So this is Bartosz, his yard times. Um, what you'll see is the orange is trail course, the blue area is the road course, and the dotted line is 2023 times.
Wow. I wonder why he
Um,
ran so slow on the road on the first night.
yeah, so what you see here is his first couple yards were nice and slow.
Mm,
So that's fairly common among these elite runners. They're just settling in. They're just saying hello.
yeah.
It's a little bit of a recce run, if anything else. Then he settled into a bit of a faster pace for that day for the rest of the trail, and then we get it a lot slower um, during that first night out on the road.
Mm.
I would say that's when the heavy rainfall was.
Oh, yeah.
So in 2023, you see that line there, that dotted line. Um, After the first trail loops, he went onto the road and did some really fast laps. Whereas this year, he had some fairly slow laps. And that did coincide with a heap of rain that came through. Not for
Mm.
the whole period of rain. He did run some faster ones at the end of the rain there. But then once the rain cleared up, he went into faster laps. So,
The other
um,
thing is that first day was quite warm and like he ran fast on the
yeah,
12. So he must have just thought, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to run slower on the road to recover.
yeah. I'd love to ask him the question of what he was doing in those
Mm,
first night loops and
yeah.
why they were slower, whether he was enjoying the rain and it was cooling him down from a long hot day, or whether there was something he was doing to maybe keep dry, or I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely a deliberate move to run slower there. But what you can see for the rest of his loops, they're all well ahead of his 2023 times. So
Yeah.
he was on for a um, really big event right up until he got DQ'd. Um, and yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to see Bartosz um, continue. Understandably, he was DQ'd because he had broken a rule. Um, but yeah, looking at his times, he was on for a really big one, and he would have been there at the end.
It looks like it, yeah. Wazza actually ran the it was just commented Phil ran 38 yards under 45 minutes in 23.
Yeah, cool. So more this time, but that road,
Mm.
extended road.
Relly Footwear is asking, was there a huge difference between the weather conditions in 23 and 25? I wouldn't say it was a huge difference, but apart from the rain.
Yeah, I'd say that rain was fairly huge though. So yeah, look, I wasn't physically there. Look, in 2023, looking at the live stream, they did have some heat. They did have some cold nights.
Mm.
We got all of that. I think it's that rain that was the biggest difference.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Duncan Runs has also commented. He spoke to Bartosz and he said he was having issues with his umbrella in those first few night laps, which slowed him down.
Oh, maybe he's carried an umbrella like Mitchy did, Bagman.
I'm assuming his umbrella means like he's referring to his marquee.
Oh, maybe. I'm assuming that when an Aussie is in the chat, they just put weird things sometimes. So
Yeah,
maybe there was no umbrella, Patto.
yeah, yeah. They might
Um,
they might clarify what they mean. We'll see.
Here's Veneri Teppo, so another fast runner. And what we see here is some fast day loops, some even faster night loops. And then all of a sudden, the graph just ends at 70.
Yep.
So there's not even really much of a slowing. So after the second round of trail loops, which wasn't until day 3, that third night um, was slower than the previous nights. Um, but he's still coming in under 45 minutes consistently. And
Yeah.
then the graph descends.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I heard that one of the other runners or something like that, talked him into running a few more loops. I'm pretty sure he was going to stop sooner, but someone talked him into doing a couple more.
Yeah, was he on Phil's fantasy team?
Maybe, but
Maybe.
I'm not
Who
sure if it
knows?
was, yeah. I think
But
it
yeah,
might have been. I think it might have been Phil. Oh, I better not say. I don't know for sure, so I'm only
yeah.
guessing.
But definitely looks on paper like he had a lot more in the tank.
Oh yeah.
And Ivan Zaborski, we've touched on this, but you see a lot of fast laps. So we're talking under sub 40s. So the laps we were talking before sub 45, he was doing sub 40s.
Mm,
And then, yeah, around that 37-yard mark, you see those times start to blow out.
yeah,
And as always, with anyone in a backyard, when your times start to blow out, it's easy to think you're done. He must have been in a lot of pain as well,
yeah,
but just kept going. But even when he was, hunched over, grabbing his back over the line, he was still getting in under 55 minutes. Um, but yeah, you can see a tale of two stories. First half of his race was fast. The second half all sits around that 50 plus.
yeah. Duncan runs 16. No, not the marquee. His crew, Mary P, said she ended up having to fly down and grab a new umbrella for the loops. So
Ah,
I don't know.
maybe.
Interesting.
Check the last stream for a brolly.
Yeah.
Um, this is Nicholas Cointerpass. And when I look at this graph, I see something um, familiar. You see anything familiar in this graph today?
He's getting faster, and I can see he's getting faster up until the very end.
Yeah. What else do you
Um,
see?
uh, Familiar.
We'll look at it later, but it it looks very much like a Phil Gore graph to me. The Knights don't have that same 3-yard, well, 4-yard pattern with
Yeah.
three fast and one slow. But just the difference in trail course where he's taking it easy and night course where he's coming in faster and potentially getting that sleep. Um, yeah, there's not a lot of runners where their night loops, sorry, their road loops on the fourth night are as fast as Nicholas. And Phil is one of those runners where he keeps consistently getting those fast laps in when he can.
Now, when I had Phil on the podcast, I mean, to me on the live stream, it looks, I know that they weren't battling it out like, it looked like that there was a bit of a rivalry brewing between them just because
Yeah.
Coin to Pass was running so well and running in front of, finishing more loops in front of Phil. So, like, I know that it wasn't getting into Phil's head or anything like that, but what was it like around being there and seeing this? What was the thoughts around camp?
Um, yeah, it was pretty cool. Um, Usually, so you stand at the finish line on the correct side of the finish line,
Yeah,
importantly, waiting to grab Phil's Phil's stuff so he can have something to eat, get into bed. And it's not very often you see other runners come in because you usually see Phil come first at night and then you're taking him to bed and cool. But yeah, we were consistently seeing other runners coming in, and it was just a sense of excitement. Like there was such talent out there. We were going to see something special, and Nicholas Cointerpass, particularly later on, and Ivan Zaborski earlier in the race, were definitely a couple runners that were consistently coming in ahead of Phil. Um, which I think it just got everyone revved up that we had such talent running, and the race could go anywhere. It was still
yeah,
anyone's race to win.
yeah. Do you remember when we did the Sat Champs preview? I was frothing over Coin to Pass.
Yep. Yeah. Well, rightfully so, because he got 105, which is huge.
Yeah. 106, I think.
106.
Oh no, no,
Yeah.
actually 105. Sorry.
Question my numbers.
Yeah,
Um,
and actually, I think that Duncan Runs is pulling my leg about that umbrella thing. I've worked.
no,
Yeah,
no
I'm
one would pull
capable.
your leg.
I'm easy to trick.
So they're the fast. Here's the slow. So this is overall. So combined road and trail. Slowest runner was John Knoll, 54.18 was his average.
Yep.
Rodolfo Ramirez, 54.17. And Giovanni Grisang, 54.08. The slowest individual loops, Vadim, 59.54. Tokimasa Harada, 59.49. Akihiro Maeda, 59.47.
I love this because a lot of people, or you would have heard a few people saying that this result of Biggs has proven once and for all that fast loops are better than slow loops. And John Knoll ran the slowest average loop.
Yeah, yeah,
He ran 111 yards.
111. Yeah,
So I think that there's you just got to run your own race. You can't. I mean, maybe work on your speed a little bit, but as long as you've got that strong mindset, like that John Knoll obviously has, because I remember like watching him on when they were back on the trail on day three, which would have been in the 40s, maybe 50s, and he was coming in that like 54, 59, 55 minute sort of time, and it looked like he was like not struggling, but working hard. And he
yeah,
did it for another like 60 hours.
yeah, yeah. And then you got Rodolfo Ramirez, who we spoke about him in some of the fastest laps. So clearly has the ability to run fast.
Mm,
But his game plan is just slow and steady.
mm,
Um, Second slowest, so slower than faster than John Knoll by 1 second. Um,
mm.
and uh, all these slowest loops that we just touched on were the runner's last loop. But the slowest loop where a runner kept going and completed more loops after was 59.29 by Rodolfo.
Yeah.
So he did a 59.29 and still completed 2 more yards after that. So completed that one, had 31 seconds, and then turned around and just kept going and kept going. He,
You know that,
I was in awe watching him. So we'd walk Phil and Jashi to
yeah,
um, the start line each lap, and whenever he came in with a few seconds to go, he was right next to us, and just watching him dump that bucket of water
yeah,
on his head,
yeah.
drink a bit of electrolytes or whatever he's drinking, grab a fresh bottle, and then he was in the corral and gone. Didn't even sit down. Just
Yeah,
amazing to
yeah,
watch.
yeah. Yeah, like he kept on doing it over and over and over again. Like I thought maybe he'll be gone in 1 or 2 yards, but he probably did it maybe 8 to 10 yards, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah,
But the other thing I'll note with this slowest average, John Knoll is number one, Rodolfo is like within 1 second. Very different body types. John
yeah.
Knoll is like very slight and small. Rodolfo, like he's a tank.
Rodolfo the tank.
Yeah. He's built like a tank. He's built like a Sherman tank.
Yeah, lots of different body types in backyards, which is really cool to see.
Mm.
Slowest on the trail. Oriole was the slowest average on the trail, 55.40.
Yep.
Harvey Lewis, second slowest, 55.38. Takamasa Harada, 55.37. Oriole and Harvey aren't uh, newbies. They've been at this game for a while. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're old
Um,
hands. They're old
yeah,
hands.
this talks to what you mentioned before. Some of these experienced runners taking it easy on that trail course.
Yeah, and I am sure I saw Harvey and Oriole coming in together quite a number of times when they're coming out of that trail and finishing that loop,
Yeah, yeah.
running
Um,
together.
I think I think it's a smart thing to do. It did seem so much slower on that trail course, even though it was more runnable. So
Mm.
yeah, it's brains getting in there and um, taking a bit smarter on that trail course. Slowest individual loops on the trail. Vadim did a 59.54. Tokimasa Harada and Akira Maeda did a 59.49 and 59.47 respectively. And they were all their final loops. 6 out of the 10 slowest trail course times were on the runner's final yard.
Right,
So
okay. That's a good stat. The Roach actually is commenting, would be interesting to see John Knoll and Rodolfo's average as the race went on. Is that yet to come?
We can look at everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get there, Roach. Don't worry. Is the Roach actually his nickname? I don't want to offend him.
Oh, he's got many nicknames. The Roach is probably the nicest one we've got. We've got for him. Um, then you got the road. Who was slow on the road? Carl Kevin Rule,
Yep,
53.51 on the road average. Rodolfo, 53.42 on the road.
yep.
And John Knoll, 53.36 on the road. So they were not only taking um, the trail course easy, but Rodolfo and John, how they got the averages down was just running slow road loops as well.
Yeah. Got to
Um,
say, like the John Knoll, he is such a legend, isn't he? That guy. Like, what a run
yeah,
by John Knoll.
yeah.
Like he,
And
like
now,
that run, no one will ever forget that run. Like whenever you think of John Knoll, you'll just remember that 111 at Bigs in 2025.
yeah, national champion shared with the grandmaster of backyards, the
Mm,
doctor of backyards, Harvey Lewis.
yeah.
Um, Slowest individual loops, we got Rodolfo with the slowest of 59.40. Willie David Christopher from Malaysia, 59.36. And Rodolfo also had the third slowest time with a 59.29. Lots of slow
Rodolfo,
loops.
yeah, he features in the slow loop category.
And in the fast loop. He's a
Yeah,
he's a
the
tale
jack,
of two speeds.
the jack of all trades.
Um, and then yards over 55 minutes. Who did the most?
Wow.
Um, Evo did 57 yards over 55 minutes. And we used to call 55 minutes and up the danger zone.
Yeah.
Danger zone.
I've changed it to the legend zone.
The legend zone. I think it has to be because the danger wasn't until they hit over 57. And for some of these runners, it wasn't until they hit over 59.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, Evo did 57 yards over 55 minutes. John Knoll, 54, and Rodolfo, 43 yards over 55 minutes. As a percentage, Evo did 50% of his yards. It's actually just over. So half his yards over 55 minutes.
And probably half of those yards as well were with that bent back.
Yeah. Yeah. Leaning to one side.
He is
Would it,
one
yeah.
tough dude.
Would have been good if they were running it in circles with that lean because he was naturally leaning the right way. But and out and back, it's not ideal for that. And then Rodolfo and John Knoll, yeah, just under half their yards were over 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Here's Evo's chart. So you see, this is a much more common progression in times. When I showed you Nicholas Contapas, his graph before and how I noticed it looked similar to a Phil Gore style pattern. This is the other style of yards we see. You see Evo started with a fairly steady day between that 50 to 55 minutes. He got faster on the first road loops. And then as that 37-hour stretch on the road continued, he slowed down. So he started that road stretch under 50 minutes. And then by the end, he was up around 54 minutes for those road
Mm.
loops.
Yeah,
And then,
Evo's taken the different approach when he was running in the rain. He was running faster loops. Remember we were looking at the
yeah,
Bartosz, for example. He was running slow loops in the rain.
yeah, he must have had a good umbrella ready. um, and then back on the trail from day three, Evo just, stayed mainly above that 55 minute, 56 minute.
Mr.
Um,
Consistency.
you see a couple faster laps where he's come in, must be a shoe change or a change of clothes or shower or something.
Mm.
And he's just held on. He's just grinding him out all the way through so many hours there, through 60 something hours. And then one of my favorite yards of the entire event, this you'll never forget either, was that 113th yard
Mm.
that Evo and Phil ran. And you see that was a fast one for Evo as well. So the power of human connection and running together pushed him round for a sub 55 on that one.
That was definitely the most exciting race for an assist I can think of because there was four left. They all completed 111. Only two of them completed 112. Phil
Yeah,
came in with plenty of time, and then you're waiting for the other three, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then just like with like less than a minute to go, Evo, you see a head torch, you're like, who is
yeah,
it? And it's Evo, and like with that lean, and everyone was just, oh, mate, I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
yeah. It was pretty cool being there and watching.
Mm,
And it felt like John, Harvey, um, they dropped out. It felt like maybe 2, 3 hours apart from each other.
mm,
Because they didn't come back at the same time in the same ways.
right.
But yeah, in actuality, it all happened really quick. And then before you know it, it's just Evo and Phil running, and then suddenly Evo's done, and Phil's convincing him to go out for one more. Yeah, it was an interesting situation. Probably not how it felt it was going to pan out either, because Evo had been grinding out with that lean, and
Mm,
Harvey was looking good, and John was looking really strong.
yeah.
John Knoll was looking really strong, and yeah, then it all just came came unstuck at the end.
And like John, I'm sure John Knoll and Harvey Lewis both had it in their mind that whoever finishes more out of them would have the US record. So they must have just gone till they obviously just went till they just could not squeeze out any more yards because they both
Yeah,
would have wanted that US record.
yeah, they didn't leave anything in the tank.
But they didn't.
Here's John Knowles.
Oh, nice.
Um, so similar, not as extreme with the speed on that first night,
Mm,
but it's a similar pattern. A lot of runners are like this: slow um, trail loops for the first 11 hours, sped up on the road, getting a bit of sleep, enjoying the road loops. But then at the end of that 37 loop stretch on the road, had slowed down, and then he was grinding him out.
if you look at his dots from last year, it looks like he's definitely made a conscious change to his strategy. Because can you see he ran like one, two, three, four loops under 50 minutes just out of
Yeah.
so, and he didn't do that this time. I mean, there
Yeah,
was
so last year, not last year, in 2023, it was a lot faster over those first 20 hours. And yeah, it looks like he made something of a conscious decision, although it's hard to tell with um, the rain, etc., if that did impact.
yeah,
But yeah, he's definitely running slower loops over the first 20, and that maybe gave him a bit of energy at the back end.
mm,
You also see loop 84 and 89. He ran
yeah,
a couple fast ones there,
yeah.
um,
It looked
which,
like, well, actually, I was going to say it looks like he ran a negative split, but he probably didn't because of that first night.
yeah, it looks like the second half of his race was getting a little bit faster as it went on. He was speeding up a
Mm,
bit, but he
mm,
was still hovering around that 55-minute mark. So
yeah,
here's Rodolfo, the man.
this is what
So
this is what the
Rodolfo,
Roach has been waiting for. The
yeah,
Roach.
here you go, Roach. Um, the dotted line is his 2023 numbers. Um, much slower start. Clearly a conscious decision. It's easy to say, coming into loop 36, 37 here, halfway through those um, road loops, you think, oh, he's running slower. He can't run faster than 2023. Like he's behind his
Yeah,
times. But
yeah,
then when you look at loop 41, he's run a 32-minute, 33-minute. Like he had the capability to run fast. He was um, deliberately running slower loops.
yeah. So this is an example of someone who's realized that they can go further if they run slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not always the faster. So I guess
Um,
it's down to what you knowing yourself and what works best for you.
yeah, maybe you are a Rodolfo, maybe you are a Phil.
Yeah,
But if you're not a Phil and you try to run the way Phil runs, it's not going to end
yeah,
pretty.
yeah. So if just say for example John Knoll tried to do a run how Phil Gore ran, it wouldn't work for John Knoll.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like, if Phil ran John Knowles' style, it wouldn't work for Phil.
But I think the coolest thing of Rodolfo's graph is just how close he gets to 60 minutes to the full hour.
Yeah,
Um, some runners are running 50 minutes, and then when they get to 54, they freak out and they think they're done.
yeah,
Rodolfo's just warming up. He's
yeah.
he's fine to come back with a handful of seconds and get back out. His last 6 yards were over 58 minutes. I think they average 58, 59 the last five. Um, so yeah, he had very little respite between loops.
Rodolfo is like Laz's campfire. It gets hotter as the race goes on.
um, here's the road versus trail course difference. So what this is looking at, okay, what was your average on road and what was your average on trail, and how much faster or slower were you? Phil Gore on average was 9 minutes and 18 seconds faster on the road than the trail. Sam Harvey was 8 minutes and 19, but we know he dropped out after 24, so it's maybe not a true view of what his loops might have been if he kept going.
And I think it's worth mentioning, just in case anyone doesn't know, that he went into the race not fully fit, so
Yeah,
it wasn't a big surprise that when he dropped.
yeah. Anyone who doesn't know why Sam Harvey dropped early, go watch the Dead Cow Gully doco, and you'll see Sam at the end, and you'll see how much he pushed his body there, and just how much he squeezed out.
Yeah.
And yeah, coming into Bigs, he just wasn't fully recovered.
Mm.
And Jose Monsanto was 7 minutes 56 seconds faster. Now here's a few runners who were slower on the road than they were on the trail. Lukash Robel was
Mm.
slower on the
So
road
this,
than he
so
was on
this,
the trail.
so they because they finished early, they dropped early. They started slowing down on the road.
Well, these are runners who dropped out during that extended stretch of road, that first
Yeah,
shift to the road.
that's
So
right.
yeah, really, it's just showing that their races unwound fairly quickly on those road loops.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, Nicholas Cointerpass, his road and trail loop patterns were similar to Phil Gore. I think I got a graph in here somewhere, but you'll see here's a distribution. You've got runners on the left
Oh
of
yeah.
this graph were slower on the road. So the lines above shooting up was slow on the road. Put your head sideways like this, you can read it. And the runners on the right were faster on the road than they were on the trail. And you'll see Phil Gore all the way over on the end, with Lukash all the way over on the other side.
Yeah, and I mean, the three, apart from the extreme left on the graph, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any trend between big difference and going far, really, does there?
No, no. I mean, if you take Phil Gore as the example, he won, and here's how he did it.
Yeah,
Cool. You'd think there should be a big difference on road and trail.
yeah,
Um, but when you consider Evo is almost all the way over on the left, and
yeah.
he was the assist, there's a real mix. John Knoll even further on the left.
And
Um,
Orioles like a little bit on the left too.
yeah, Orioles just left the center, so
And
it just shows.
He's way over there too on the
Yep,
left, and he did 100.
yep. So there's no one shoe fits all when it comes to how you run these backyards. And sometimes the best data you can have is looking for a pattern and not finding one.
Mm.
So there's no real pattern in this. Although I would say vast majority of runners were faster on those road loops than they were on trail, which you see here. Um, but the amount that were faster on that road loop varies wildly, and it doesn't seem to impact the result.
Yeah.
Now, these two graphs, look at this, Nicholas Cointepas and Phil Gore overlaid. So we're just looking at um, their lap times comparing to each other. And what we're
Wow.
seeing is Nicholas, the blue line here, is actually faster on that first day on the trail. But then they both um, get into faster loops on the road course.
Mm.
You'll see the green line of Phil has that three fast, one slow, three fast, one slow.
Yeah, you can see it. You
You
know
can see
who it
the
is.
Phil pattern. Um,
Yeah,
and
any student of Phil Gore will recognize that graph.
it's like a fingerprint.
Yeah.
um, and Nicholas Cointepas almost has identical fingerprints to Phil.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really exciting to watch. I'm sure on the live stream, particularly on those night loops when you see a headlight coming, it was exciting to see who was it going to be. Was it going to be Phil or Nicholas? Here's DNFs. So we had 14 runners refuse to continue.
Yep.
So that's where quit in the chair, which can be for a number of reasons. Yeah, injured. I know Sarah Perry, my favorite runner, had back issues, and would have been counted as a refuse to continue. We had 29 runners who were incomplete. So that's when you go out to do a loop, but you don't complete that loop.
Yep.
An example there would be Evo on 114. He started that loop, but very quickly turned around, as was his plan, and didn't complete it. Then you have overtime. We had 26 runners overtime. So that's where they completed the loop, but it took them over an hour.
Mm.
And two disqualifications.
I
Um,
haven't watched either one. I hate seeing people get disqualified.
I've watched both.
It gives me a weird feeling. I just don't like it. So I haven't watched it yet.
Um, what we see here is there's more incomplete than there was in 2023. About the same refused to continue. Less overtime, so less runners went overtime. And there was only one disqualified in 2023, two in 2025. So double. Looking forward to 2027 and having zero in
Yeah,
in
me
that
too.
box.
What I'd be interested in it would be are those how many of those 26 over time were on the trail and how many were on the road?
Ooh, well, I don't have that on me right now, but what I do have is did they DNF on the trail or did they DNF on the road?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and what I've done is I've counted not the last loop they completed, I've counted the next loop. So if
No.
the next loop was a trail loop, um, obviously if they went over, then they tried that trail loop and they failed. If they refused to continue, they refused to go out on that trail loop.
Yeah.
Um, what we had is big difference. So we had 27 DNFs on trail, 44 on road. And if we go back 2 years, we had almost the complete opposite. We had 44 on trail and 27 on the road. So it's reversed. And a lot of that just comes down to that extended time on the road course. Those 37 hours during that period, 19 runners DNF'd.
Mm,
So there's 19 who DNF'd on that road, just because of the timing where it was, or maybe because it was such a long period on a mind-numbing road, or the impact on body.
yeah.
Um, that road course, compared to 2 years ago, did take out um, more runners.
Yeah. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah. Also, maybe suggest that the trail course was more runnable.
Yeah.
Um, but again, more runnable, slower loops,
Mm.
smarter runners, maybe. Although If they were smart, they wouldn't have signed up to begin with, right? um, here's Jose Manuel Ruiz Verdugo. So you don't want to talk about it. Maybe you want to talk about it. You don't want to watch it, Pato. But he was disqualified. Did you see why he was disqualified?
Um, no.
No. So simple mistake, but not the it's the world champs, so we shouldn't be making simple mistakes. But he went to the toilet before finishing the loop because you run through the area where there's toilets, and his crew was standing there right next to the toilet, and he handed his crew his water bottle.
That's
So
I did. Yeah, I heard about that one.
yeah, if you think about it, there's zero advantage really to be had by doing that. All he would have done is take his bottle into the loo, or he could have even dropped it on the ground in front of the loo. But the rules are simple, and that was a disqualification. He was running well, so there's no doubt there's a lot more
Mm,
Jose could have done. And then we've touched on Bartosz, but yeah, Bartosz disqualified. He was actually disqualified for something he did during loop 61. So during loop 61, he went into his gazebo, he sat down, went to untie a shoelace, um, and then realized, I think his crew realized, hey, you haven't crossed the line, go across the line. So he crossed the line. Again, in theory, there's very little advantage to be had by half undoing a shoelace. But simple rules, and he'd broken the rules. He did that on lap 61. His 61st lap was counted, but he wasn't allowed to continue.
right.
And had a lot more in the tank. So it was pretty disappointing we didn't get to see him continue.
Yeah.
First and last finishes. So who finished the yards first? Nicholas Cointerpass finished first 25 times. Phil Gore 23 times and Bartosz 16. Pretty huge considering Bartosz was disqualified in the early 60s
Mm,
um, to still finish 16 of those yards first. And
yeah.
then, yeah, seeing Nicholas um, finish first 25 times compared to Phil Gore 23 goes to show that that headlamp we were waiting for quite often wasn't Phil's.
Yeah.
And last finisher, so who came across the line last? Rodolfo 17 times. They were they were exciting laps to watch.
Yeah.
Evo 11 and Giovanni Grisang 8 times. Um, Phil finished first 9 of the last 10 yards. And the one he didn't finish first on was yard 113 that he ran with Evo. And maybe a good sportsman gesture. Um, Evo actually finished ahead of Phil by 1 second on that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, Phil really came into form, and yeah, it would have been 10 out of 10 of the last laps that Phil finished first.
Mm,
Runners remaining. So we had 8 runners hit 100. It's massive. In 2023, we had 6. We had 12 runners hit 90. 2023, we had 9. We had 27 runners hit 72, which was up from 23 and 2023. We had 52 runners left after 48 hours, up from 47. 68 hit 24. Actually 72 in 2023, so that was down. And 4 runners did 24 or less, compared to 3 in 2023, so 1 extra.
mm.
4 runners joined the 100 club for the first time, including, this was pretty special, Hendrik Borey. So
How
he was
good
on
was
my fantasy team. I was pretty pleased when that happened. But also, I think in our hearts, he was in a lot of people's.
Yeah,
Um,
he looked. I was so happy for him, and he did look so strong out there too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hendrik did great, and it's such a great story to round it out. From 2 years ago, he was that one disqualification. To come back and hit that 100 must have been a pretty special moment for him.
Did you
And
see him wear his Park Run 100 t-shirt?
yeah,
His 100.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
And he said
Pretty
he was
cool to
going to
see.
do that too when he was on the podcast. He said he was going to do that. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And I think we got world records here. I'll claim them. Warren can tell me I'm wrong if he runs the numbers and shows it. But I'd say 52 runners at 48 plus has to be a world record. Same with the 27 at 72. That would be a world record. And clearly the 12 at 90 plus and the 8 runners hitting 100 is the
Yeah.
most we've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
We're looking at a graph now of the runners remaining. So just as the race went along, what we saw is we started with three less runners than we did in 2023. That's a dark blue line here is 2025. The red dotted line is 2023. But pretty soon in the 30s, from about about yard 30 onwards, we had more runners in the race all the way through to the end. So we consistently had a larger field, showing that the runners we started with less, but they're much more capable to push further.
Yeah. Best group of backyard ultra runners ever assembled in one race.
Yeah, best group of endurance athletes ever assembled in one race, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we get to the final 10 runners. Um, Graphs get really hard to put together when you put 72 runners on them. So I had to choose a smaller number of runners to look at. I chose 10. Sorry, Dan Kamat, you were 11. I could have made it 11 just to have you on there, but 10 sounds better.
And just before you do, Wazza actually did clarify it is a new record. 47 was the previous record.
47 was the record. Yeah, 47 was 2023. So Big's the place where records fall.
Yeah.
We don't have to go through this. This is just showing the averages and the trail average and road average of the top 10 runners. But yeah, what we saw and what is interesting is Phil Gore had the largest difference in road and trail loop times of any runner. Phil um, Phil runs fast road loops, particularly at night. He runs slower trail loops. You can see Nicholas Contapass on this as the only other runner in the top 10 who had an average in the 40s. And you see his road loops were average 42. Phil was average 43. But a lot of the other runners are the high 40s and low 50s. So there's a couple runners within the field of 72 who ran a similar style with Phil and Nicholas. But a vast majority of runners ran different styles and it worked for them. So there's no one size fits all. And if you're looking at what worked, if Phil wasn't there at the top, if he went to that 24-hour championship, we'd all be saying slow and steady wins the race because you've got Evo, Harvey, and John Knoll who would have been the top three.
Yeah, that's been my biggest takeaway so far, Tim. That's been my biggest takeaway so far.
Now I've got some graphs on the top 10. Here's their average times. This just shows, yeah, Phil and Nicholas were the fastest of the average. But there's no pattern here. There's slower, there's faster, whatever works for the runner. I suppose what's important with the average time is it's under an hour. Time on feet, this is always a cool one to look at. So Phil Gore spent 88 hours and 43 minutes on his feet. Evo spent the most of any runner, 101 hours, 27 minutes, and 41 seconds. So what's that? That's 13 hours more than Phil. 13 hours of running more than Phil Gore did.
Before we forget to speak about him, Brecht Van Dam,
Yeah.
98 yards. Hopefully he comes back next time and does a John Knoll.
Yeah, there's only 2 more loops to do, which sounds really easy until you remember he's got to do the 98 again before he gets to do those two.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gave it everything. If you're out on 98, um,
Well, let's think like John Knowles come out and done 111. Frank the Tank, he did 97 at Bigs in 23.
yeah,
He's come out and done 110. So, look, I mean, it was disappointing to finish too short, but the future is bright for Brecht Van Dam.
yeah. This is their fastest laps and their slowest laps. You see similar things here, except Oriole. I remember 2 years ago we spoke about the Oriole blip, where he
Yeah.
runs slow and steady, and then when he wants to do a fast lap, he just drops the hammer and runs a quick one. He did that
Yeah.
again, which is cool to see.
I it did look like he was running more faster loops than last year because or 2 years ago, just because I noticed him do it on the live stream a few times.
Yeah, yeah. This is their road and trail average. Really, this graph just shows what we've touched on before. Nicholas and Phil were running those vast differences in road and trail times, where a lot of the other runners were a lot closer in times. Um, and yeah, this is that variance. So Phil having the highest variance between road and trail. And this is their yard split. So what we're looking at is the top 10 runners. The yards under 45 minutes will show in green. The yards between 45 to 55 will show in blue. And then yards over 55 minutes show in red. And again, there's no one size fits all. What impresses me most here is John Knoll, not a single loop under 45 minutes.
Yeah.
He had 57 loops between 45 to 55, and then 54 loops over 55 minutes. Evo, similar, but he did do one loop under 45 minutes. And Brett Van Dam, similar, one loop.
Mm.
Hendrick, two under 45. So there's clearly a couple different patterns with the runners. Nicholas and Phil running those fast road loops and the big variants, and the others, slow and steady wins the race.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like how Harter and Oriole are similar too.
Yeah, yeah.
Very interesting.
And this is the finish first and finish last. So who finished a lap first? Who finished a lap last? Hendrick finished first 0 times. He finished last 0 times. Did 100. Phil finished first 23 times. Finished last 3 times. Do you know what loops Phil finished last on?
The 113,
Yep,
100,
113.
114,
Yep, 114.
and 2.
Nah, I forget which one. It's in the 60s.
Oh,
But
really?
looking at the times, he came in with a group of 4 runners. So they're
Oh,
all together. He just
oh,
happened to be the one who crossed the line last.
I was going to say, I was going to guess that he went to the toilet.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Mm,
Maybe I haven't watched the live stream to see why he came last that one.
uh,
But yeah, you look at Evo, he finished last 11 times, only finished first once.
that's amazing, like the Hendricks stat though, because he made it to the top 8, and even when he was running so many loops with
Yep,
like only 10 runners, for example, like he was still not coming last or first.
yep,
That's
yep.
amazing.
It's pretty cool. Um, there's other stuff. So this is I've been going through um a PDF presentation with all these graphs and stuff that you can download from the Backyard Ultra Run Club website. Jump on the Instagram for the link.
Oh yeah.
Um, we've
Everything's
also got
there. Everything's there, and you can choose which runners to dig in real deep with too.
yeah.
So
But
if you want
here's what the people are really frothing for:
to, yeah,
the
yeah,
fantasy team.
yeah.
So who was well? First, we'll go through the winner, Ian Bethune. Familiar name.
I
He's great
think
at running backyards. He's great at the fantasy team for backyards.
yeah, he is a man for all seasons. Um, that's amazing.
Do you want
Like
the most impressive stat in all of this, in all of Bigs, the most impressive thing that happened? It isn't that Phil won. It's not Sarah Perry getting the female world record, even though she's my favorite runner. It's not Phil taking Evo out on that second last yard. They're all cool moments, but the most amazing thing that happened is there were over 19,000 possible combinations of runners that you could choose that were under $10 million cap.
Yeah.
So for the fantasy team, you had over 19,000 teams you could choose. Ian Bethune picked the one team that was mathematically perfect, the best team, unbeatable. So um, there was no other person who picked that team. No one picked the teams that were even close.
That's
Um,
look, I was so sure that it would end up being a draw and it would go down to the number of
yeah,
yards. I was so, but he won easily.
yeah. And here's how he did it. He had Hendrik Burry,
Yeah,
he had Sarah Perry,
yeah.
and Stefan Wilfinger. So Hendrik and Sarah were quite popular picks. They were in my team, but I had Willie David Christopher.
Mm.
Um, so you couldn't just have two fantastic um, options on your team. You had to have all three. And Ian nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. He wins the coin. Um, I think,
I think that that's amazing, man.
yeah,
I
it's
think
pretty
that that's
cool. The
Ian
best,
Bethune, man. Ian
the
Bethune.
runners who were the best value. So how much you paid per yard?
Oh,
Jonathan Torina, he was the mathematically the best value runner out there. Stefan Wilfinger, 2.3 million, ran 75 yards. And Sarah Perry cost 3.2 mil, ran 95. So
steals.
yeah, fantastic. Who was the worst value? Ron Wyman cost 3.8 mil, ran six. So
Yeah.
you paid $633,333 per yard. Lou Cash cost $6.4 million, almost the combined total of the three best value runners, and ran 17. And Sam Harvey was the third lowest value runner, cost 6.3 mil, ran 24. So for Sam Harvey, you were paying over $250,000 per yard.
Yep.
Um, now, I took me a little while, but I ran every single combination of runner that was possible.
Yep.
Um, and the top 10 teams possible all had Sarah Perry in them.
Wow.
So if you didn't pick Sarah Perry, you had no chance.
Mm, good value.
Great value.
Very good value.
This shows the cost per yard. So we're just looking at a graph with all the runners' names and a line that is fairly steady until it gets to the end where we've got Kenneth, Thor, Sam Harvey, Lukash, and Ron Wyman, where their cost per yard just skyrockets.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought I'd go through some of the results of the fantasy team. Not
Yeah.
all of them, but Ian Bethune won. He won. Mathematically unbeatable. He had a total of 270 yards.
Yep.
Uh, we had you on here, Patto. You
Oh,
came
yep.
248th with
Not
a
as good as
total
I
of
hoped. Not as good as I hoped.
117.
I don't know as much as I thought.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you thought was Clayton Talbot was going to win.
No, I thought
He came
hard.
125th
Yeah,
with
him and I fell for the same trap. Pick the very, very cheapest player.
yeah. I thought Warren might win. Warren did a bit better than Clayton. He came 73rd.
Ooh, there was like he knows his
Yeah.
stuff. He
He
knows.
had Matt Blackburn, Sarah Perry, and David Stoltenberg. So
Yep.
good choices there. I think Matt Blackburn value might have been blown out a bit.
Hey, have you seen on the live stream how funny the bit is where Matthew Blackburn's sitting around next to the fire and Laz is there and Matthew Blackburn's like teasing Laz about what he's wearing.
Oh, no.
He's going, "Why do you?" He was saying something like, "Why do you wear the same clothes all the time? Why don't you get a new hat? Why don't you get it?" And Laz was like, these are the same clothes I always wear."
I'll have to watch that.
Oh,
Um,
that's good.
and everyone's favorite, Dom Halbert. Dom
Oh,
Halbert. He's
oh.
he was frothing over this fantasy team. He spent weeks. He had spreadsheets. He had a committee like helping him decide which runners. He was reviewing their DUVs. I heard he was calling up the runners and asking them how they felt and how their training was going, stalking their Strava. He was connecting every single dot,
Yeah,
and he came 311th place. So, so not a great result there. He chose Bartos, so
yeah. Bad
fair
luck
enough.
with that one. Yeah.
That's some bad luck. Willie David Christopher and David Stoltenborg. So not the worst team, but a pretty terrible result, Dom.
Did you hear
Um,
he's gonna run it? I'm still standing.
yeah, in Sydney where I live, I think I'll be at Hurdy's, but because it's the same weekend.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
gonna come up and crew for him too.
yeah, hopefully you you're in Sydney before I leave, or we can
Yeah,
go for a
well,
run or something.
yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. We'll see how we go because Hurdy starts on the Friday as well, so I probably won't.
And of all the runners in the fantasy team, um, Dan Kamak, the Kamak attack.
He had a good run and a good
Yeah.
fantasy team.
And you know how he did it. He backed himself.
Yeah,
He was on his own fantasy team and he
yeah.
backed himself and he came through with the goods. He had Meg Eckert, himself, and Jonathan Torina. He came eighth position. Um, and Phil Gore, who was trying to influence the result of the fantasy team by dragging some runners around for extra laps, came 135th. So I
And
did hear he's
Teppo
upset he
was,
doesn't have the set of coins. He's only got one, not both.
and Teppo was his third runner, so
Yeah,
I'm sure he was the runner that he was encouraging to keep on going.
yeah.
But that's a solid looking team as well.
Yeah, there were about 450 people in the fantasy team, and six of them guessed correctly at 114 yards. So I
Wow.
think there were a lot of people guessing higher numbers, some people guessing in the hundreds of thousands of yards, all sorts of numbers in there. But yeah, six people guessed correctly 114. Too bad. Ian Bethune got mathematically the best team. It doesn't matter how many yards he picked because it didn't come down to the tiebreak anyway.
And have you thought about if you're going to do the fantasy team in a couple of years' time as well? It's been a success.
In 2 years' time, we'll do it again because it was a bit of fun and I think it created some chatter around the fireplace, around the fire. Um, but we'll do it again for Satellite Chance. It'll be
Yeah.
different. Warren, I need your help. We're going to make it a little bit more complicated because you have to pick a team of 15 runners. Um, but yeah, it'll be like not just Patto versus Tim versus Phil Gore's team versus Dan Kamak's team. It'll be the actual countries competing as well.
Hmm.
So, can your team beat France? Can you pick a team with your salary cap that beats France? Can you pick a team that beats Australia? Can
Yeah.
you pick a team that takes out the entire world champs? We'll see.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun. That
And
sounds like
then just in the deck, if I have every single runner's times here.
Hmm. We may as
So
well go through. We may as well go through each one individually.
no, no, get out of here. Even I'm not willing to talk that much. But if there were questions or anything, maybe we could answer a couple.
Yeah, well, there's 11 people. There's 11 people
Ooh,
glued to
frothing.
the. Yeah, they're frothing. Um, we'll give them a couple of minutes and see how we go. But how's your running going anyway?
Yeah, good. I'm back from Biggs and straight back into it. Um, I'm pacing Margie Hadley in Costa
Oh,
Cosi
that'll be good.
in not this weekend, next weekend. So
That'll be an awesome
um,
experience.
yeah, I'm frothing for that. That's going to be yeah amazing
Yeah,
to check out that course and that race is awesome, and then to do it with Margie Hadley is just fantastic. She's
yeah,
also my favorite runner. So
yeah, yeah. She's awesome. Love running with Margie. Let's see. So what's your next race is Hurdies then, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't got anything planned outside of Purdy's. But yeah, there's a few races that I'm hoping to do next year. Um,
I've got a comment. It's from Dom. Um, After you gave him shit, he wrote, not a question, but just to say thanks for the content, chaps. Great stuff as always. So I hope you feel guilty now, Tim.
Me,
Yeah,
is he still there? Maybe he's left.
he
He
loves
stormed out.
it. Um, oh, Gemma liked it. This was more interesting than I thought it would be.
Oh, is Gemma actually Gemma? She must have listened to it in 1.5 speed or something.
All right, this is a good one. What are your 2026 Backyard Ultra predictions?
Ooh. Um, let's just leave the slider fill up so we're going to look at that. I think we'll break the world record. It'll happen. In
It will-
2026, it'll happen.
If it
I,
does happen, it would have to be at the Sat Champs, right? For one of the.
yeah, I think it'll happen at Sat Champs. I think we'll have the first female over 100. I don't think that'll be at the Sat Champs. It could be, but I could see someone like a Sarah Perry going to Legends or one of those come to Dead Cow, Sarah,
Suffolk. Suffolk.
yeah, Suffolk. Yeah, or other runners going there. I think it'll take an international field to help
Yeah.
get over 100.
Yeah, because if you get Lukacs, Sarah Perry in one race,
Yeah,
but yeah, that record could be in
yeah.
danger.
And yeah, I think, what about Sat Champs? Who do you think will win? What country? What do you think the
Oh,
top three will be?
it's gonna be It's gonna be the same as the last 2 years. Belgium, Australia, and USA.
You reckon?
Yeah,
I
but
reckon,
but it's going to be interesting to see the USA's team.
yeah,
I'm just not sure because they've got all these silver tickets. They've got like 7 or 8 silver tickets.
yeah, they got the most.
So that could mean you're going to get an up and comer who isn't hitting those big numbers yet. So they might not have the depth
Yeah,
because
I
all.
reckon Australia will win.
Yep.
Um, to win, you have to have all your runners at least do 50. And I reckon we've got that depth. I think we've got a lot of runners in Australia who are ready to do 50, 60 plus. Um, I reckon Australia first. I reckon Belgium second. And I reckon Poland third.
Ooh. So you're leaving out the US?
I'm leaving out the US.
Poland third.
Poland third. Write down the date. Tim predicted it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Poland are good. They've got some awesome runners.
Yeah, very good, and they're coming up really quickly. So
Two other countries that I think will be big improvers this time. New Zealand,
Japan, oh yeah, New Zealand, yeah,
And England probably. I reckon it wouldn't surprise me if you see Matthew Blackburn, Sarah Perry, and maybe even John Stocker in the
yeah,
England team. Um, and New Zealand and I forget, yeah, and the UK, yeah.
cool. Well, should we wrap it, Pato? Or are there any
Let's
questions?
let's have a look. Um, uh, Aussies at Reds to take the win. All right. Terry Muffins to the Roach. He's predicting you're going to make the Sat Champs team.
I need the roach there as a lucky charm.
Is
It's
is the
hard.
is the Roach going to go over to Hurdy's and crew?
Oh, he could. Do you want to come, Roach? He probably would.
He's a good bloke.
But I reckon I've got a lead on A grade crew who might help over at Hurdy's. I reckon. I reckon I might have some good support there.
Oh, you've already got some.
Maybe. Yeah. Top secret.
Well, yeah, Jim has just commented. He's got crew here already, basically. He's got crew to win Hurdy's again. You can have a lot. You've got a lot of fans. You're a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Everyone
Although
knows who Hurdy's winner is.
what I'm not looking forward to, Patto, is being called the Hurdy's loser. If I
Yeah,
if I go over to Hurdy's and I don't win, and
but
Phil says you got to win 3 times before he gives you any respect. So I've got a couple years before I get there.
yeah, gee. Well, you've shaken off the Statsman tag.
Yeah, for now, this podcast might bring it back. When someone listens to it and they hear me going 54, 23, 48, 30. Yeah. Oh. But really, how could I compete with Warren? He's got the brains, he's got all the data.
That
He's a true asset to Aussie backyards, this bloke.
that website is so good.
Phenomenal.
It's really good. He didn't seem to like my nicknames I did all that much though when I suggested it.
What was it?
That like you know how like when you're reading the footy program it will say a player and it will have a column for nickname.
Oh yeah,
I suggested that we put them in and he wasn't too keen.
yeah. Get him in there, Warren. I'll be
Nickname.
Hurdy's winner. You'll
Yeah,
be Patto. How are we gonna know who Joel is if it doesn't say rock and roll Joel Sex Bomb Sexton?
That's
It could
his.
be anyone.
It's true. Um, yeah, so yeah, but there's so many though. There's Phil Gore, the backyard king. There's
Yep.
James Blanton. It's some have
The
more than
war
one
horse.
nickname. You could have it like Jimmy B or White King
Oh
or,
yeah, yeah.
or Jimmy B or Warhorse. Yeah, got the White Kenyan. You got the Beast from Bannockburn. You got
The
the
Mac Attack.
Timboon. You got the Timboon tractor. You got the Dubinator.
The Devinator. Oh
Um,
well, Dom's gonna be on that website if he comes to I'm Still Standing.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good enough incentive on its own, don't you reckon? And he only needs to do one loop, and you'll still get on it.
Just one, yeah. Not like DUV, just one gets you on there.
Yeah. No, he's in the zone now. Like he's capping his run at 24 yards, but it looks to me like he's taken that leap from a consistent 24 plus to consistent
Yeah.
30 plus.
Well, I got one more prediction then for next year. Dom will cap his run at 24, and then he'll run more than 24 loops anyway.
Uh, that's a good one. All right. Well, that is awesome. Thanks for that. I'll press stop. Actually, I'll stop the live stream first. So thanks, everyone.